Yeah, viewers, really sorry. We had a technical issue and it has been resolved now. Please join us in the new link, which is available in the comment section. Actually, both both of us, Professor Emmanuel, we were at the point where we was looking at the steep hike in land tax, which has gone up by a staggering 50%, and we were asking like, was it necessary to go for such a hike? And also, what your take on the increase in taxes on electric vehicles and contract carriage vehicles? Also, how is going to impact the common man in the sense, especially the land tax?
Krishna Kumar, I'm audible,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Should I come
Yeah,
again
yeah.
with the question
No,
or?
no. I could hear you. Yes.
Yeah, please.
So yes, see, any tax is, people don't like taxes. So in Kerala, where our economy is not in a very such a very good health, in that situation, if the government is raising the taxes, people will not appreciate it, especially the property tax, which is going to hit everyone. And as I told you earlier, the ordinary people, their real incomes are not rising for the last few years, and we can get inferences towards that from the consumption expenditure data which we are getting, and so I think that people, the situation is not that good, and it is going to affect them. And on the EVs, I think the strategy of the government is to make some revenue out of the fast growing sector. So now I think the next 5 to 10 years, a massive shift towards EVs are expected. So I think the government is trying to tax and make revenue out of that. So again, it may not be affecting the poorest people, but that can slow down a bit the shift towards EVs in Kerala. People will wait for a little more time, to shift towards EVs. So I think Kerala, by doing this, I think is not really helping faster transition towards a greener economy, and it is not going to help the people at large. But again, the government is desperate to make some revenue, and we have to see it in that light. But it's doubtful that, and again, next year it will be tougher for the next government. So it
Okay.
is not we need a path correction.
Okay, then when we go back, like, can we look at some of the key takeaways? Like, there has been some attempt to for an infra push for the growth corridors, the triangle corridors he was speaking about, and also, do you think that there is an attempt to push on the tech, IT, digital research, those components? So, could you just see any positive projects that have been listed in these areas, especially?
See, yeah, see, I think we don't have dearth of projects, but the problem in Kerala lies in its implementation
Yeah.
and sustaining those projects. It should be appreciated. So if somebody listens to this kind of projects, they will definitely appreciate. But looking at the past experience, what we see is that apart from the initial a few crores allocation for starting, the project, and it doesn't, really get completed on time, and so that is a situation. So these projects are definitely feasible projects. So if the government has the political will, definitely it can implement these projects. Attracting private capital is very important. This the union government is again stressing the importance of public-private partnerships. So Kerala can also think in those lines. So there are a couple of areas, at least in which Kerala can benefit from the union budget. If we are not getting funds through grants in aid and the finance commission tax devolution, I think Kerala should consider taking advantage of the several projects and schemes that the union government is coming up with nowadays. Just to give an example, uh, the shipbuilding industry is given a lot of stress in the union budget. And I think in this, interestingly, maybe the state government has taken cue from that, and a few announcements were there related to ship industry. We are planning another shipbuilding center in southern Kerala. So I think they have listened to the union government, union budget that way. So there are other areas also. There is a program for rural resilience and development, where the union government is contemplating development of 100 districts, backward districts, where agriculture productivity is low. So the project is contemplating development of infrastructure, post-harvest facility, development of post-harvest facilities, better credit facilities, etc., in these districts. So I think Kerala should try to get as many districts from Kerala as possible in this list. 100 districts. Out of 100 districts, at least 10 can be from Kerala. So there are many projects like that. Another serious issue, I think, for Kerala's, what holding back Kerala is the lack of a real a big city. Kerala doesn't have a big city. Cities are very important. We always talk about urbanization, and we take pride in the fact that Kerala is an urban-rural continuum, etc. But for urbanization to bring in economic gains, we have to allow it to grow beyond a point. So then we will start experiencing these cities when it's per capita income and economic activity goes beyond a threshold level. What happens is that these cities start experiencing what is called agglomeration economies. So in Kerala, I feel that there is not a single city which is experiencing agglomeration economies. So Ernakulam, Kochi was one of the probable candidates for that, but it did not happen. And without that, so once these agglomeration economies happen, the city will start attracting capital. The city will start attracting talent. That is a way to grow. And I feel that no government can go around and look for investors and invite them, bring them here, and offer them something and make a sustainable investment and progress through that channel. We need to set our house in order first. Then investment will come here. So that is, and again, that is not possible in a short, 1 year or 2 years. We need to come up with a policy of a graded introduction of reforms which will attract investors to Kerala. So I think that is a way forward. And there is one. This is what I was coming to. This urban challenge fund announced in the union budget can be utilized for that. So why can't Kerala take advantage of the urban challenge fund and try to make a few of our cities to grow to that level? And it need not be the existing cities like Ernakulam or Kozhikode. It can be another place also. Like we can take advantage of, near cities in the nearby states, like Coimbatore, for example. Coimbatore has these agglomeration economies. So Palakkad can be a candidate for that. Probably. So maybe Mysore can be, some place, locality closer to Mysore can be another candidate in Kerala. So that way, if we can make use of our urban challenge fund announced by the union government and allow some of the cities to grow, then automatically investment will come. So investment will not come by the ministers going abroad and speaking to investors and we cannot cajole them to invest here. And if at all someone comes, it will not be desirable kind of investment which will be really useful for Kerala in the long run. That is what I feel.
One or two questions before we conclude, and one key, the point of discussion at this point of stage. was the issue regarding Kerala Infrastructure Investment Fund Board, or KIFBI, as we call it.
Yes.
Uh, by stating that the budget that the government will look at the revenue generating model for the KIFBI, do you think that the government has accepted that uh, finally KIFBI must be converted into a self-sustaining, a special purpose vehicle? You, what is your take on that?
Yeah, I don't want to wade in myself into politics, but still, I think that now the government is trying to make it a revenue generating model so that they can get exemption from the debt ceiling, which is stipulated by the union government, to take this off budget borrowing thing out of that category. So that could be the objective. So again, it's a very tricky question, and how this is going to affect ordinary people, etc. Tolls, etc. So if it is a very small toll, and maybe that is okay. But we are shifting to such models out of you know a situation where we are in a crisis. We have no other way, so we are trying to do it. So initially, we were totally in against any kind of toll or user fee, etc. Now, when situation demands, we are falling into that, and so I think that a crisis-driven mode of reforms is not going to be really sustainable. We need to think in advance, and because every year becomes a crisis management for Kerala. So that is not the way forward for Kerala, I think.
Emmanuel, we will conclude this discussion by this very straightforward question, like how do you rate this budget? And do you think that the fiscal conservatism, which I would like to say much people may differ, fiscal conservatism, which was shown by Mr. Balagopal in the previous budgets also, have we lost the bus, or is it the maximum that he could do with the scarce resources and the severe crisis that we are staring at? So, how do you overall rate the budget? And this question, the final question on have we missed an opportunity by what you mentioned about all through your points about being a bit a kind of adventurous in your ideas and uh, fiscal mobilization also.
Uh, we are not missing the bus through this budget alone. We have been missing several buses for the last many decades. So we need to catch the earliest possible bus now. All buses are there. But every time we miss a bus, it is going to take us longer to reach there. So, and again, I don't want to blame the government or the finance minister. It's something which in economics we call path dependence. We are reaching like that. If you take time series data, we are reaching there here through the points every year. The last 40 years or 50 years took us here. So you cannot blame any particular finance minister or a particular government for that. We, as a society, we need to become aware of this and take uh, you know resolve to make changes in our policies. So that is the way forward. So I don't want to give a mark. Uh, uh, what is it? I have to rank it, or
Yeah, rank.
yeah, yeah. I
Out
think
of 10, do you want to rate out of 10?
the budget can be given a high rating, but the problem is next year when we come back to this table, the implementation part, it will be very poor because we know that there are no resources for that. So that is why, to be realistic, we cannot give much marks for as an economist, I cannot give much marks unless there were massive reforms that he was trying to bring in. Because otherwise it is not going to be realistic. Because if you look at the last years, as we discussed earlier, the figures are very unrealistic, which we call in public finance as fiscal marksmanship. The fiscal marksmanship is missing. And again, we cannot blame the finance minister because the political compulsions are such that he has to come up with these kind of sort of unrealistic figures also, probably. So that is, I think, the budget looks good, but the proof of the pudding, So next year we will have to look at what happened to these budget proposals, and maybe I think we should be discussing the last budget now instead of this year's budget. So, so, so nothing much is going to happen during this year, and the budget size is also going to be maybe a few percentage points less than what it is budgeted for. Like last year, the budget size, the budgeted amount was 1,84,000. The revised estimate is 1,78,000 crores. There is a fall, and the revenue receipts have fallen, and central government transfers share of central taxes have risen last year, interestingly. Although when we are talking about the falling share of taxes from center, what was budgeted was 23,800. What we have received is 25,550, almost 2,000 crores more than what we budgeted. But we have, the grants in aid have come down, which I think is going to come down the next year also. So next year also is going to be very tough for the state unless we are seeing a significant buoyancy in GST revenue. So otherwise, our the fiscal mass will be in trouble. And one probable way in which GST can rebound is by the union government slashing the income tax. That those changes leading to a significant rise in the consumption levels, and that might help one. And also, I think the state government is working on improving the GST revenues by plugging the leakages. So that is going to assume a lot of importance in the current year if we are to uh, if we are not to deviate much from the budgeted figures.
Okay. Thank you, Emmanuel, for sharing your valuable insights. It was an interesting discussion, I hope, for the viewers also. Thank you. Thank you so much for being with the Hindu. Thank you, Emmanuel.
Thank you, Krishna. Thank you for this opportunity.